licensed financial. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the meeting. And I'm Aparna here. I'm a licensed financial planner from Chicago, Illinois. And we represent a nonprofit organization, Family Guard 360. The intent of this nonprofit organization is mainly to educate our communities about the law of the land, US laws, and enforce the importance of the will and trust. So I'd like to introduce you to Veer Vasant, who is a very recognized and respected person in the financial planning industry. And he has helped several families protect themselves with a correctly formulated will and trust. Our focus is on helping families mainly to eradicate the GoFundMe in the Desi community. So, as part of this outreach, today Veer will be sharing us the importance of will and trust and the step-by-step process to create your own will and trust. So, yeah.
Thanks, Aparna. Thanks for the brief intro. Appreciate that. Thanks for those kind words, and thanks Pramod for being there behind the scenes. Awesome, proud CATN. Fantastic, awesome guys. So today, I know I'm going to keep this presentation in English because there could be people who don't understand Tamil. So I just want to keep it as generic as possible. So the main intention for today is to, as Aparna was saying, to help with the will and trust process. Okay, so a little background about myself. People who graduated from CIT, you guys already know. I'm a CITN as well. Came to the country in '99. When you come, like of course, I came in the IT software industry, and then once become a citizen and everything, I had a lot of fascination in the financial industry. So I decided to become a licensed financial professional. Okay, long story short, I'm in the DMV area, as we call it, like the DC metro area. And this is where a lot of action is happening with Doge. So anyways, I thought it'd be a good time to protect our community, share the importance of will and trust, right? So with that, when it comes to, the financial aspect itself, right? Financial planning, most of us, we are in our mind, masters of our own finances. The best thing that we do is talk to our friends, coworkers, neighbors, or go to Google or these days ChatGPT or something like that, right, to get some financial knowledge. So, but any which ways, there's always something that seems to be missing at the end of in the financial puzzle. That's what I'm here to put some pieces together. The most important based on will and trust. Okay, so with that, I want to help you understand what are the pieces that goes along with will and trust. Okay, so when I look at financial planning perspective, right, what we do is we look at where somebody's at point A financially and where they want to be, point B, right? We evaluate the existing strategy that they have in place. And if we identify if there are any gaps in that process, we fill those gaps with proper solution. That's what we do. And one thing over the years we have observed is a lot of our people, especially coming from India, there's a lack of awareness about the importance of will and trust. So this kind of became more and more relevant. And how many people are seeing GoFundMe these days, right? Every month there are at least a couple of GoFundMes, on the lower scale. So we want to see, what is the impact here and how we can help protect our community. So from that perspective, we created a spin-off into a separate nonprofit entity called Family Guard 360, as Aparna was alluding to. And so as part of the community outreach, we wanted to create a series of webinars to bring some awareness. Okay. So of course, will and trust is going to be the major topic of discussion. One thing that goes along with the will and trust is the long-term care, right? So what is happening? You talk to any financial advisor worth, they're going to say, we are just only one diagnosis away from losing all our savings and assets, right? Because 67% of bankruptcies happen in this country because of medical bills, unfortunately. I'm sure they are trying to reform from the government side. I don't know how long it's going to, take for that to happen, if that happens at all. But how many of you believe that the cost of the healthcare is going to reduce down the roads, right? I don't think so. I personally don't think so, right? Even quality healthcare, even in India, is getting expensive, right? So, but there are some workarounds. I'm gonna maybe keep that in mind, and we can have a separate one-on-one discussion. I'll be happy to share some insights. And other thing is, most of our retirement for our long term is based on 401k or IRAs, Roth IRAs, right? And most of the time, it is not protected from down market. So I'm sure you have seen how bad the stocks have been performing the past couple of days, right? So what I mean by down market protection is, like, say you start with $100,000 in your portfolio, right? And the market gains 50% the first year, and it crashes 50% the following year. Right? If I'm going to ask somebody, like, let's say pick somebody from the audience, right? Like, who is here for the first time. Say, Sudhakar, you're here, right?
Yes, Vasant,
Okay,
please.
Sudhakar, quick question. I think we talked about this last time also, right? So you start with $100,000. The market gains 50% the first year, and it crashes 50% the following year, right? How much do you have in your portfolio at the end of the second year?
100K, almost, yeah, plus minus.
Like the rate of return, we always say plus 50 minus 50
Maybe
should be 100, right? But there's something called real rate of return. That is, you start with 100,000, and the first year the market gains 50%. So it's $150,000, right, Sudhakar?
yes.
And the following year, the market crashes another 50%. So how much is 50% of 150,
Okay, got it.
right?
Yeah,
You see, right?
75. Yeah,
Exactly, Sudhakar. So we end up losing money over a period of time, right? Every time it's like goes up and down, right? But the good news is there are some financial instruments that we can put in place to protect your portfolio from crashing in that kind of a market, right? Again, these are the things we need to be aware of while thinking about long term, right? Will and trust and everything. Now, to goes along with it, I'm sure, like, if somebody has younger kids, I can, guide you through the kids' college savings plan, because that is going to be a big impact into how you plan for the future, right? Talking about planning, everybody wants to retire, okay? But the thing is, are we prepared for retirement? When I say preparedness, it's not just about the investment, the growth, and everything, but the impact of taxes during retirement. In this country, as they say, there are two things that you can't run away from, right? One is death, the other thing is taxes, right? In fact, you pay more taxes even after a death. Okay. So anyways, I know it's not a very cozy topic to discuss, but if I can help you, each and everyone on this call, to save at least like $20,000 to $30,000 in your taxes, if not more, would that help you? Right? I think the answer is yes. Okay. Now, the other thing, of course, life insurance. Nobody wants to talk about life insurance, but I'm not a life insurance, peddler. That's not my goal here. But if we design life insurance in a proper way, we can protect a lot of things from our financial perspective. Okay. I'll probably touch base on a couple of pointers, and then, we'll take it from there. Okay. So with that, let's move, into this one. Okay. Now, talking about will and trust, right? A lot of us, when we come from a different country, like in this case, a lot of us from India, we don't even have time to think about how to plan our finances for the most part, because day-to-day life keeps us busy, right? So there's always something going on with the kids' activities. Our wife, not wife, life keeps us busy, right? So we are in the process of chasing our American dream. We try, sometimes we forget to address what's the basic necessity that we need to take care of, right? So from a financial planner perspective, I always recommend there are 3 levels of protection. Okay. I clicked one too many times. Okay. There are 3 levels of protection which we recommend for everybody. Okay. So let me try to go back. I have, okay. 3 levels. Okay. One is the legal protection from will and, through will and trust. So you want to protect yourself from liabilities and probate. The second level of protection is the protection from any financial disaster, right? So God forbid something happens to one of the breadwinners. The question is, can the family afford the same lifestyle and reach the financial goals? Okay. The third is health-related disaster. Again, we have seen so many such cases. I'm sure like you probably heard about it in our communities, where perfectly healthy guys somehow sometimes get into kind of a health challenge. So if someone is not working, can they still go to work and make money, right? If they're not in proper health? Not really, right? So obviously the bills are still have to be paid. And in fact, there are going to be more bills, right, with the medical bills and everything. So everyone agree all three are important. Maybe one of you can participate, guys. That's okay. You can mute yourself. I'm completely okay with it. So Sudhakar, feel free to say yes, no, maybe, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah,
Yeah. So all three are important, right? So that way we can
absolutely.
be a little interactive, right? So today my goal is to address, the pointers for all three of these. Okay. Now, what is a will? In your mind, maybe other than Sudhakar, if anyone else wants to share a pointer, anyone wants to volunteer and answer, what is your current understanding of what a will is? Any volunteers?
To me, I can think of in Tamil, நம்ம உயில் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா? To me, that is will.
Absolutely correct, right? So like, and most people, if you watch in movies and all that, so people when they get up in their age, that's when they start doing that trick, right? But there are certain things that are different in this country. Okay, if you want me to define what a will is, in a very layman terms, it's a legal wish list. Okay, so what I mean by that is you write down your legal, portfolio, how your assets needs to be distributed when we are no longer there, right? And who will take care of our underage kids, God forbid, so that something happens to both parents. Very important decisions, right? Now, because naturally, because I said it's a legal wish list. So someone needs to go and execute what's written in the will, right? There are certain roles that we assign to the will, and one of the important role that we assign is called the executor. The executor is the person who executes what you have written in the will. Okay, and usually it will be the surviving spouse. But what we have seen in most cases, some other times, like maybe the surviving spouse, due to health conditions, or because of lack of awareness about some other financial world and legalities, they might not be in a proper position to execute that role properly, effectively. Okay, so if you have any friends or family in the US, I always recommend people to add them as an external executor. Okay, and if your kids are are 18 plus, you can add them as an executor as well. But the problem is, even they, you say, for example, they're 18, 19, 20, they might not be like worldly wise to handle a lot of these things, right? So I always recommend someone like who's senior, well respected, someone in your circle of trust to be added as an executor. Make sense? Now, the next role is a guardian role. So if we have kids less than 18, right, and God forbid something happens to both the parents, in India, what will happen? Anyone want to volunteer? What happens in India if something situation happens? Who takes care of those minor age kids?
Grandma and grandfather.
Grandma, grandpa, right? Do you know what happens to the kids in this country in such a scenario?
Yeah, they will not allowed to take. Obviously, they will not be here. And if grandparents are here, government will not allow.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, someone said foster care. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So that is a problem, right? Yeah. So unless we legally nominate someone as a guardian as part of your will, even if there's family here or back in India, they cannot come and claim those kids. Okay. So we always recommend assigning a guardian very specifically in the thing. Like, like I have kids, right? So when like when kids go to sleepover, we think twice before we send our kids to anywhere, right? Someone else's house. So we, even for that, we have to do our own due diligence, right? So it's a very, very responsible process to identify who's going to be the guardians for us, for our kids. Okay. Now, again, the common question is, hey, my parents are back in India. I have brothers in India. Can I assign them as a guardian, right? The obvious question is yes, but the answer is yes, but the problem is it's not easy for them to get a visa and fly over and take care of their children, right? And they might not know all the loopholes, legalities, stuff like that. So I always recommend a local guardian to take immediate custody of the children in that kind of a situation. Does it make sense? Any questions there?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So again, another thing, right? So how many of you have kids? You know how expensive it is to bring up kids, right? The school might be free in this country unless they go to private school, right? But the activities are expensive. If you send one kid to an activity, it's minimum $500 these days, right? Sending a kid like a couple of activities are 1,000. Like if you have two kids, $2,000 gone. It's like another mortgage payment, right? I don't know if you guys have figured that one out, right? Now, if in a worst case scenario, if a guardian is going to take care of the children, the question is, how are they going to be able to afford those kind of expenses, right? So that's where I remember in my previous slide when I was talking about some of the other things that we need to worry about or take care of. Insurance is one thing, right? At least if we can get some insurance to cover for any kind of liabilities in our life, right? That will help a guardian to provide for our kids, God forbid, in a worst case scenario. Does it make sense? Right? And the other next role is a trustee. I'm sure like home ownership is a pride in our community, right? And some of us have investment properties as well, right? Again, in the worst case scenario, if the breadwinner is not there or one of the breadwinners are not there, right? It might become a challenge for the surviving spouse to make those kind of payments, right? And in a worst case scenario, when both of them are gone, again, and the kids are not financially, equipped to, for example, pay for the mortgage or, pay for the property tax and, upkeep, maintenance, all the stuff, someone needs to be able to pitch in, right? So that role is called the trustee role. Okay. Trustee is a person, again, who is going to take care of all these responsibilities. Again, mortgage is not cheap, property tax is not cheap. So that's where maybe if we can leave some cushion in our insurance to address those kind of scenarios, that will also be going to be helpful. At least the family can stay in the same house or don't have to worry about rent if you guys are, someone is renting. Make sense? Okay. So another common question is, hey, should that be different people for each of the different roles? No, it can be the same person. And most cases, it's the same set of people, right? So any questions so far?
So, wasn't that whatever the life insurance we have, generally that life insurance, is there any class? I would like to know to cover mortgage insurance. Sorry, what is that? Mortgage payment?
Yeah. So yeah, there is a mortgage insurance. I'll be happy to who is asking the question? Sorry, I can't see.
This is Sudhakar.
Sudhakar, yeah. Sudhakar, ping me offline. I'll be happy to schedule a one-on-one with you, right? I'll be happy to walk through based on your needs. Again, it's going to be like a one-on-one, based on your specific requirements, right? Yes, there are specific type of insurance that could help make sure that your liabilities are covered. Okay. In fact, I have a slide to how to exactly calculate how much liability, we have in our life, right?
Recently, no, I just last 1 month I'm inquired about the core bridge something core bridge. What is life insurance?
Okay.
So I went through all the documentation, and for example, if I covered for 1 million, they will with the terminal, critical, and some other illness benefits. So even I don't have answer for that whether is we need to get, if for example, they will pay for if something is happened to the insured, they will pay whatever the insured amount.
Right.
So that insurance amount will pay to the loan. That is the process, right?
So there are little subtleties to it. I don't want to digress, but yes, I will be definitely happy to review what you have and what the person talked to you, and I'll be happy to help you with that understanding.
Thank you.
Okay, most welcome. You have my calendar access as well. Feel free to schedule it. Okay. So that good question though. I mean, I'm glad you are looking into that, right? And I that is one of my passion to help people actually design a proper insurance as well, right? It's not like random number, 1,500,000, nothing like that. So I can work with you to design and curate a plan, how much you can afford and how much risk you are willing to take and how much you actually need. Okay. We'll go through the elaborate process and, I'll be happy to help. Okay. Now, there are a couple of other roles. Okay. I want to continue with that part because there's something called medical power of attorney. How many of you are aware of what is a medical power of attorney?
Not sure about that.
Okay. So God forbid, if something happens to me, if I am in India, right? I'm not in a position to talk, I'm kind of like a trauma kind of condition. So who will make those medical decisions on my behalf if I am in India? My family members, right? My wife or my friends or my parents, right? But do you know who would make those kind of decisions in the US? Any idea?
It also maybe spouse or spouse only, right? Generally.
That's what you would expect, right? At a bare minimum.
Hospital or insurance.
Hospitals, right? And 99% of the time, that's not going to be in our best interest, right? So it could be like some life-saving medical procedures, or some life-saving medicines, or it could be as simple as I'm saying simple, or as complicated as how long they should keep us on a life support, right? This became a big topic of discussion during the COVID time. Okay, so unless we specify someone to make those decisions on our behalf when we are incapacitated, right? That's going to be a big problem. In fact, it happened like last year in Pennsylvania. There was a gentleman, black eyes, right? Like he skidded and he hit his head, went into a coma. Okay, he was going to check, the mailbox, and he was in a coma for about 43 days, right? Can you guess how much the hospital charged that family? Close to $500,000, guys. Right? I mean, obviously the person is gone, and this is like extra burden for the family. Okay. If only they had a will with a proper medical power of attorney, somebody could have taken an educated decision a little early on, at least, right? Nobody wants to prematurely pull the plug, but at least it could be reasonable. In fact, there are provisions in the will where you can decide how long you should be kept in life support, right? Instead of putting that burden of decision making on our family members, right? That's something I personally feel in that I don't want to give them that burden of responsibility. Okay, but any which ways, very important role. And you probably heard of the financial power of attorney. That's the power patram, we call it, right? So even if you are here, or something happens to us, or even if we are planning to settle back in India and our kids are here and they want to exercise, do some transactions, they would need their financial power of attorney as well. Okay, so these are some of the key roles that everybody needs to make as part of the will. Make sense? Any questions on the role so far? Pretty clear, right?
What is that financial power of attorney, Vasant?
Yeah, financial power of attorney is like, say, for example, like you are in India and your kids are 18 plus and they are studying or something, and they want to take some money, or change their credit card details or something like that, whatever, right? So you can give them the financial power of attorney, even to make some land sale transaction, rental, stuff like that.
Okay, when we are in India, even parents are live. So whatever the funds we have in United States, that fund will go authority to consume. Huh?
Exactly. Right now we are giving the power of attorney to our parents, correct?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
S-
Indian
s-
property.
Yeah, same thing you would be giving for your kids or your family members, your wife and things like that.
So even though they are minors also.
Not when they're minor. Minors, you cannot give that, right? They have to be 18 plus.
So that is the case. What will happen?
So, I mean, obviously you have to give to your wife, and also is someone who is in your circle of trust.
Oh, okay,
That's
got
20%.
anyone is fine. Not
It
only
could be
parents.
anyone. It could be a close friend, colleague. Some people they are on H1, their project gets ended, they go back to India, they still have their bank account here, right?
So
So if
makes
they want
sense.
any transaction made, on their behalf, things like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Now, in today's reality, so let's say we have a potluck or any kind of discussion, right? We go meet our friends, and the topic comes about finances. What is the most common type of topics that comes about for discussion when we talk about finances?
Like
Generally,
stock markets and all that.
Yeah, stock market. What else?
emergency fund.
Yeah. So I'm revealing this slide. I should not have. To be honest, we always talk about Tesla stocks, right? Some stock market, what is happening, land investments, right? Not very seldom. Maybe you talk about emergency funds, maybe once in a while. But what I'm trying to say here is in this slide, most of our focus when it comes to finances and investment. Do you guys agree in general, at least? Right? It's heavily on investment, right? So what it should be is how we have to design our financial houses. It should be based on protection. So when you're building a house, which one do you build first? The foundation or the roof? Right? Any civil engineers today?
Foundation only first.
Foundation.
No need of civil engineers.
I know, right? Common sense. So remember the three levels of protection I'm talking about: legal, financial, and health, right? That should be the core of the foundation for the financial house. Obviously followed by debt management, emergency fund, and then investment. Because what happens if something happens to the foundation, everything gets shaky, right? The entire thing can fall down. Okay. So I want to emphasize that while the importance of protection. Okay. And feel free to take a screenshot of this picture. These are the life events that would trigger a need for a will. Okay. So on my 3 o'clock position, you can see relocation to your new state. Will is a very state-specific document. Okay. So right now, say, for example, you are in Michigan or Wisconsin, and you are tired of this cold weather and you want to move to Dallas or Florida for retirement, you will have to redo the entire will. Okay. Will is very state-specific. But there are some workarounds. I will talk to you guys about that. On my 6 o'clock position, you can see when the children turn 18, in this country, they are considered legal adults. Okay. And once they turn 18, they should have their own will. If not, as parents, we cannot even take, we cannot access their medical records. We cannot access their financial records. We can't even access their educational records. If you guys have kids who goes to college, you would know that, right? So again, there's so many things happening, guys. You probably heard about this girl,
Hey,
Sudiksha.
are you sharing the screen or anything material?
Am I not sharing my screen?
Yeah, it's sharing. It's the
You
Oh,
say
sharing.
sorry.
you're sharing. I can see.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, what the heck? I've been talking a lot. Okay. So, but good call though. So, yeah, that's the thing. I'm in Northern Virginia area, and this probably you guys saw this all over the WhatsApp groups and news. This girl Sudiksha, what happened in, Punta Cana, or whatever, right? So, it's hard for a parent to not know what happened to the child, right? Some of the things, it is important, like the kids should have their own will. Okay. If there's any specific questions you want to talk about, we can have a one-on-one discussion on that. Okay. Now, what are the liabilities? I was trying to give you guys some hints about how to plan for any liabilities in life, right? So in financial world, everything works as a formula. I'm going to give you a very simple formula. Take a paper and pen, and you write down. You will be able to identify exactly what kind of liability you have in your life. Okay. The formula I'm going to share with it today is called the DIME. It's DIME. D stands for debt. I stands for income replacement. M stands for mortgage. E for education. Okay. So take a minute. I know I'm not going to ask you guys what the numbers are, but just do this exercise. Okay. Write down D or debt. Write down how much you approximately owe, if you owe anything, right? It could be credit card balance or car loan, things like that. Not the mortgage. Mortgage is the third item. Income replacement, what I mean by that is write down your annual household income, right? Yours and your spouse's combined, and multiply that with a factor of 10. That's the thumb rule. Okay. So And I will tell you exactly why I want you guys to do it. Okay. So write down income, your household income, multiply by 10. Okay. And M stands for mortgage. If your house is paid off, great. All you have to like write is your approximate property tax and for next 30 years or so. Okay. So the reason why I say like 30 years, a lot of times we expect our family to live in that place for 30 years. If you don't expect our family to be in the same house for 30 years, just multiply by 10, just for the heck of it. Okay. But if you have not paid off your mortgage, write down your mortgage, outstanding mortgage. Okay. And then E stands for education. In today's dollars, for one child, it's about 160K per child if for a normal 4-year degree. If you have 2 children, multiply that by 2. But again, this number will only increase down the road. But at least for today's calculation, write down 160 per K per child. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is once you add up all the numbers, you will have the entire liability that you have in your life. You cannot put a price tag on a human life, but you can come close to it, right? So what I mean by that is if God forbid something happens to one of the breadwinners, right? The question is, how is the children's education going to be taken care of, right? Who's going to pay off the mortgage? And do you want to leave some buffer of income, like at least 5 years, 10 years of your income for the family until they figure out what to do, right? So this is the number that you have, right? I don't know, it could be like 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, depending on how much you make in terms of annual income as a household income, right? Or how big the mortgage is. But that should give you how much insurance coverage you would need so that God forbid something happens to us, kids' college education is paid off, the mortgage is paid off, so the family can stay in the house, and we leave some buffer of income for the family. Okay. I hope I was able to give you some shortcuts for formulating the number. Okay. Because some other times we think we have enough insurance, and sometimes we think maybe our job insurance is good enough, but we are not married to job in this country, right? It's all at will employment. So we can be with that place, or they can keep us and kick us out anytime, right? So we have to take control of our own life insurance so that our family's liabilities are protected. Okay. Quick checklist about the will. It should be a living will. So I'm sure you guys have, will be thinking about acquiring new assets or disposing the old assets. You keep that constantly updated. That's called a living will. And there's a probate avoidance trust. I'm going to talk to you right after this. And we talked about medical power of attorney and the financial power of attorney. And are you guys aware of what the HIPAA authorization is? I'm sure most of you do. Anyone wants to volunteer and explain what a HIPAA authorization is?
Yeah, that is the medical records, right? Medical records access and mainly medical records, I believe, as far as my understanding.
Absolutely, right? The Health Information Privacy Protection Act, right? So the first time, when we go to a doctor's place, they give us a form, right, to fill out who can access our medical records, right? That is a HIPAA authorization. But God forbid, in case of an emergency, they are not going to take me to my primary care physician. They're going to take me to my nearest emergency room, right? And those guys, they won't have access to my past medical records. So someone from my family has to authorize the release of that information. That is called the HIPAA authorization. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we talked about will. Okay. What is this trust thingy, right? So trust is nothing but a holding document. Okay. So anything that you have a property or deed should be part of the trust. Now, here's the thing. With or without a will, if you don't have a trust, this is what happens. Everything goes through what you call as a probate process. In every county, there's a probate court. And this probate judge in that court, he oversees who gets what. He goes by either the will that you have written, or every county, every state makes a will for you. Now, the problem is there are actually 2 problems. Okay. Once something goes through the probate process, which is a default process, first thing is it's a painfully long process. It takes about 2-3 years. Okay. So, I used to think, when I was new to the country, I used to think, man, Why are these guys doing the GoFundMe? It's like digital begging, you know. They've been in the country 10 years, 20 years. Why do they want to do this, right? Then later I understood it's not like they don't have the funds. They don't have access to the funds, okay, because they are frozen. The reason why the states freeze the assets is because they want to make sure the creditors are paid first before even our loved ones can access it. Okay, it's a pretty sticky situation there. Now, I talked to you about two disadvantages, right? One major thing is like it's a painfully long process. The second thing is, remember like when Facebook was a thing, social media, people used to go to different vacation. They used to like take pictures and say, hey, I'm chilling in Bahamas, Goa, whatever, right? By the time they come home, the house is wiped out clean, right? There's lack of privacy, right? Now, I try to, make it jovial, but the problem is in this real world scenario, we are not going to be there when such a situation happens, right? We are not there to protect our family. Now, this is where people start coming out of the woodwork. It happens in India, it happens here in the US too, because by law, the court has to list all the assets in the public domain. Now, anyone can come and say, oh, Vasant, he borrowed $200,000 to buy a couple of bitcoins, or he wanted to invest some land, in land properties like in Florida, India, Chennai, whatever, right? So it is for my family to disprove that in the court. For that, they have to pay the court fee, legal fee, and more importantly, the attorney fees, right? Attorneys don't work for free, right? So it's a painfully, long and difficult process, and it's a very expensive process, okay? And the family has to go from pillar to post, as they call it, right? Now, the thing is, whatever we do, we want to make sure our family does not go through the probate process. And again, I can only give an example, based on what I've seen, a case that happened in, Virginia. There was a Gujarati gentleman. He owned 2 stores. During the COVID, he was visiting India to take care of his parents, and he passed away, unfortunately, due to the COVID, right? So the 2 properties he had, someone had come and put a lien on those properties. The family his wife has done 2 GoFundMe so far, right? And it's been like almost like close to 5 years now, still stuck in the probate process. Okay, I don't wish this on anybody to go through this process. Okay, any questions on the probate so far? Very good. I think you guys got it. Okay, so quick summary. I don't want to drag this. So when there's no will, obviously the government freezes assets, and the kids less than 18, they end up going to the foster care, right? And some states like California, it's even more stricter. If there's a mom, dad, and a child, like girl child, a minor girl child less than 18, if the mom passes away before the father and the child is still minor, sometimes or most of the times we have seen the father is unable to take legal custody of the daughter, okay, because the laws are very generic in this country. So they might not be biological parents. So, they have strict laws like that. Somebody had a question?
Vijayan, go ahead, please.
Okay, so my question is, let's say you said that definitely if it is 18 years old, less than 18 years, it cannot happen. So if they have a sibling, if the kids actually cross the minor after 18, so they can also take over
Yeah.
the younger one.
Yes, they can, unless as long as they have been nominated as a guardian in the will.
Okay, so
If
if
they
they
are not
if,
nominated as guardian in the will, it's going to be difficult.
okay, got it. Okay,
Right?
thanks.
Yeah, that is the thing. Okay. Now,
So here one wasn't. So in case of for example, son and daughter, so we are making the will at the age of daughter 17 years, and son is 15 years. So after 1 year, the daughter will be crossing the minor. So that is the case. After 1 year, she will be a major. So that is the case. We can include before 1 year in the will.
no, they have to be 18. No, see, the will, there's a separate will for the kids. They cannot be part of the parents' will.
No,
You
no.
can
My
make
question
them
is
as dependencies.
adding a
Dependents.
what is that guardian?
Yeah, guardian,
Or-
yes. Yeah, guardian you have to. right? So that's a risk you don't want to take, right? Can we guarantee that we are going to be alive tomorrow, right? I don't mean that in a bad way or something, but again, some people choose to wait till the children turn 18, but that actually that defeats the entire purpose of having a will. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So
Hey, just one question, sorry, extending to that one previous question. So, like, assume that a will has been created and the kids are minor kids. So my question is related to the custodian or for the kids, right? You will put some executor or handling the kids, and something happens, right?
right.
What happens if the kids, when they reach 18? What will happen to the will or the kids and all? So before 18, yeah, we created the will.
Yeah.
Something happens, somebody will take care.
Right.
So that will is there, nothing has been done. But when the kid automatically become 18, what will happen? Do we need to do any modification
Yes.
or something? Yeah, can you please
Absolutely.
elaborate?
Absolutely. There are a couple of things you need to do, right? Apart from creating a separate will for your children who are 18 plus, you can add your 18 plus year old kids as a trustee and as a executor, as your medical power of attorney, right? There's so many things you can do, right? You including your financial power of attorney, right?
Oh.
Those kind of modifications, obviously you can do.
Okay. My question is specific. Like the question is there, right? Like for example, if there is no will is there, the kids will go to foster care or something, right? But
Yes.
when they become 18, that is not the case. What
That
will
risk,
happen?
that guardian role becomes a moot point at that time.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But
the
other roles
guardian
are
role
still
is
valid. The executor role is still there, the financial power of attorney, medical power of attorney, trustee, those roles are still there, right? Those
okay.
are important as well. Just the guardian part, you don't have to worry about.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Okay, got it.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks.
Great question. Yes. Right. So, okay, that's what if you don't have a will. And if you just have a will and no trust, leads to probate court, and the family has to spend the money for all the court fee, legal fee, attorney fees, and all stuff. Documents become part of the public records, so family loses privacy, leads to a lot of commotion. It could lead to a lot of disruption. Imagine, our people. That's where if they know that you have some money, people can target the family, right, with amazing investment schemes. Okay, and if they are vulnerable, they could be in trouble, right? And if there are families with special needs kids, they have to have a special needs trust as well. They have to go through a conservatorship process, right? If they don't have a trust. And again, the family already is in a lot of stress. It adds to even more discomfort. Okay, that's something we don't want to happen for our family. Okay, now I'm sure all of us have heard about will and trust one way or other, right? And we were looking at what are the things that are keeping us away from doing it in the first place, right? So, especially coming from a Desi community, right? So even if we get a traffic violation, we would rather pay the ticket online than talk to an attorney, right? Somehow it's like a stigma in our society, right? Talk to an attorney, talk to a cop, doctor, and things like that, right? But some cases, or most cases, I should say, right? So we've tried to make it easier and make it online service for our people, so that they don't have to worry about spending thousands of dollars, right? Talking to a estate planning attorney, right? But if you're in your situation is super complicated, if you're a high net worth individual, having an asset of 12 million plus, then we can work with you one-on-one, for that particular one. But for most people, I can help you create a online will and trust. Okay, so which is very, very flexible. That will suit most people having net worth of less than $12 million. Okay. So, and again, you can be in any part of the for the country, and we should be able to do it. Okay. Now, here's the thing. About 7 years ago, we started working with this company called NetLaw. Has anyone heard about NetLaw before? Has anyone worked with NetLaw? No? Okay. So NetLaw is formed by attorneys from all the 50 states, and they are like number one when it comes to will and trust, right? And we negotiated from a nonprofit perspective. Instead of thousands of dollars, we asked them to scale down the price range to just $600, right? So that it's affordable for the community at large. Okay. And so as part of that, we have feel free to take a screenshot again, right? It has a last will and testament, includes the free spouse plan. So that means you will have a will and trust, and your wife will have a will and trust. The trust is a family trust. The will you can have, husband can be, be the executor for the wife. Wife can be the executor for the husband. Those kind of things, right? And children, grandchildren trust, the financial power of attorney, healthcare surrogate, that who makes the healthcare decisions in case we are incapacitated, HIPAA authorization, we talked about it, and who's going to make the end of life decisions for us, right? And if you have pets, obviously pets are family, right? So even if we are gone, we got to make sure we leave enough assets, enough funds for somebody to take care of the pets as well, right? Now, in our mind, so if we got to leave some funds for the pets, how about for our own kids, right? So the best thing is a revocable living trust. What I mean by revocable living trust is, say, most of you are going to be young, just like me or my age or close by, right? So you might be acquiring new assets or selling off some old assets. Any change you make, you can make it any point of time, and you don't have to pay even a 1 penny extra. It's all included, right? Lifetime access. Can make any change. And today you are assigning someone as a guardian. They could move out of the country, move out of state, or sometimes, to be honest, sometimes the relationship also could go bad, right? So you should be able to replace that person with a different person, right? So you can make any change anytime. That's the revocable living trust. And another main thing, remember I was telling will is a very state specific document. Say you are in, I don't know, say Minnesota, right? Minneapolis, and you want to move to Florida. Okay. Again, because it's a revocable trust, you don't have to worry about redoing the entire will. You don't have to even spend that extra $600. All you have to do is go to your profile, make the change to your address, and everything gets adjusted to the local state laws. So again, you can save some money there. Okay. And you don't have to go through the hassle of talking to another attorney in your lifetime, right? And the most important, it has the probate avoidance that comes inbuilt. So your family will never have to go through the probate process in their lifetime. Okay. So, feel free to review the screenshot, and I'll be happy to answer any specific questions that you might have. I'm going to take a quick pause, and if any of you have a question, I can take a couple of questions. So far, so good? Okay.
I see that the premium package includes free spouse plan as well.
Yes, that's correct.
What happens if I wanted to include my children in the will, or new will for my children?
Yeah, you can create a new will, right? You could start a new will, but that will be another $600.
$600.
In this case. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. Yeah. So again, it's very, very reasonable compared to other things I have seen, right? So in fact, we do have some, vouchers, discount vouchers for people who are financially struggling, because, there's a lot of layoffs happening. And if someone is, feeling the pinch and needs some help, please don't hesitate to, to reach out to me or Aparna, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Okay. So just want to let you know. Okay. And as a fiduciary, we cannot recommend any service without doing our own due diligence. So Netla has been so graceful in working with us for the past 7 years. We have pretty much Indianized them, to our ways of thinking. And, they have leading attorneys from all the 50 states, and they have the highest award called the James Keen Award from the American Bar Association. Okay. So very, very trustworthy partner in this process. Okay, to get started. Okay, so it's all great. Tell me what to do next, right? So all you got to do is make an inventory of all your assets. The good thing is you are not going to put any PII information there. No social security number. You don't have to disclose how much money you have in your bank accounts, how much jewelry you have in your safety locker or something like that. So there's a question. Shadri.
Hey, yeah. So just one question is, you said there are different laws for each state, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I have a 18-year-old, I've built a will, and I don't move out, but my beneficiary or the will executor moves out to a different state.
Mm-hmm.
So should we again go and update the will saying based on where? So question is, does the law is based on the executioner, or is it based on who creates the will?
You are the owner of the will.
Okay.
Okay. It's a person as the one who creates, you are the owner. You have the rights to change any designation, right? And for your own interest, I would recommend, like, as part of your annual financial health checkup, you review your will one time at least. You'll get online access. You just like take
No,
10 minutes, right?
sorry, Vasan. That is not my question. My question is, should the executioner, should the law be, should the will be changed based on where the executioner moves out? Let's say
No.
my kids are currently are in Michigan, so I
Mhm.
have a will. I create a will based and have them as executioner. They are 18 plus.
Right,
So tomorrow they move out of Michigan for their work and they go to, let's say, Texas or Florida.
right.
So will I need to update the will saying that, okay, this is my executioner? Will the state law apply from Florida for that time, or will it apply based on where I live currently?
Where you live. That's a good
Okay.
question. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for clarifying that. Right.
Right.
Yeah, I
So,
believe we can, if you want some executioner from inside the state, you can update the executioner, or it's fine as well because you are just the owner of the will and they can get to be anywhere in the US. That's fine too.
Yeah, the law is applicable only to the owner.
yep. Long story short. Right. Awesome. But yeah, I mean, I was talking about the PAI, right? You are not going to put any social security number. You're not going to, like, disclose how much money you have in the bank, how much jewelry you have, or things like that, how much shares you have, because that's all, subject to change as well, right? In which ways, you can keep things as generic as possible. Okay? It can be like as simple as all my money or all my valuables, things like that. We'll guide you through the wordings and verbiage to it. Don't worry about it. Okay. And so identify at least a couple of people for each category, the executors, guardians, trustees, those categories, right? And, of course, you got to get that notarized. So before that, what we will do is I will help you guys to get access to the net law, and we will help you vet through the entire process. We'll set up an appointment with an attorney who will basically vet through the entire thing and, make sure everything is kosher. And once they give their blessings, you'll be downloading the copy of both the will and trust. Okay. And that is the copy that you will get it notarized. And once you notarize it, I always recommend people make 3 copies of it. The one copy, you keep it at home with other legal documents. The second copy, if you have an external executor, you can seal that file and you can give to the external executor just in case. And the third copy, this process is called funding the trust. Okay, you can go to YouTube, search for funding the trust, but don't worry, we'll guide you step by step to the process. Funding the trust essentially means is, the house or assets will be in your name, right? So what you will do is there's a document called the quit claim document. You will be quitting the claim of your assets from your name, and you'll be assigning or moving that assets to the trust name. Okay. Why you have to do that? That process is called funding the trust. And this is what makes sure your family is completely able to protect themselves from the probate process. The fringe benefit, I would say, like right now, if I have a home, right, and if I get sued for liability, because it's a personal property in my name, they can attach or put a lien on those assets as well. But if it's on a trust name, at least there is a level of protection for that house or property. Does it make sense? Okay. So any which ways, these are like the next steps. And again, we'll be happy to guide you through the process. So, it's this, I just want to give you a nutshell on how simple this process is. On an average, it takes 30 minutes from start to finish to get this thing done. Okay. Again, a lot of us, we don't do it because we don't know how it works. And this process is not a rocket science, guys. We have oxidized equations, I have done EDC1, EDC2, control systems and whatnot. Okay, this is a piece of cake. Okay, there's nothing to sweat there.
Just one more question. Sorry. Is there a maintenance fee for ensuring the will is active?
Okay, great question. This one time, $600 for lifetime. There's
Okay.
no renewal cost, no subscription, nothing like that. No hidden fees, nothing like that. as a part of a nonprofit, that was one of our main requirements to make sure we don't align with somebody. In fact, Netla used to have some kind of a subscription service in the, but we did not want that. All right. And that's one thing we negotiated from day one. And they're gracious to work with us on that one. Yes. Great question though, again. Right. So feel free to scan this. This is my calendar. Okay. Feel free to set up some time in my calendar. I'll be happy to set up a one-on-one, help you guys understand. If you had to miss certain portion of this presentation for something, taking care of some personal work, don't worry about it. I'm just a phone call away. I'm just a email or calendar invite away, right? So feel free to schedule some time, and Aparna can help. Any questions? I can probably take a couple of questions. I don't want to drag this for more than an hour. You guys been patient. So any questions? Any last questions? And then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, we have a question from CK.
Okay.
You please share the contact details.
Okay. Yeah, it's right there on my screen. Okay.
The power of attorney is also what is that? Is included in the
yes,
trust,
sir. Yep. The power of attorney, the medical power of attorney, everything is included as part of the will. Yeah, any other questions? All right. If not, thanks for joining. I really appreciate you taking the time to join and understand how this process works. And I want each and every one of you to get this thing done, guys. Let this March Madness be in a way to where we protect our own family, right? So I hope I was able to add some value today. Feel free to reach out to me, and I will also reach out to you. I'll try to schedule some time take it further. Okay. So do I have your permission to send you an email or text message? Is that okay?
Sure, Vasant. Really nice session. You have a lot of patience and you explain clearly all the doubts. Happy to associate with you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you for those kind words, and thanks for your support. Please don't stop with just doing for yourself. Please share this information. Please, feel free to refer any of your friends, co-workers, whoever you think can benefit with the proper will and trust. Okay. So with that, I think we can end this call, Aparna. Thank you, everyone. Again, have a
Mr.
great
Veer,
rest of the weekend. Yeah, go ahead.
because I missed some part of this recording. So can you send me the
Yeah, who's this?
recording? Mimi Gulwant.
Okay, Gulwanji. Yes, we'll do that. Yeah.
Because we try. I'm the only first one, who first joined it, but nobody came. So I thought maybe I'm listening, so maybe I heard something, wrong.
No worries, Gulwanji. I'll be happy to. I'll be happy.
Told me.
I know exactly where you live. So you are connecting from Texas. I know that.
Yeah.
I'll help you based on the Texas laws as well. No worries. Okay.
And also, you can also share with me and others also, Vasant, because of some of the family members they told, but they are not joined in the session. Okay. Maybe I can share that Google Drive link to them. They can, whenever they have time, they can go through all this information. This is very good information. Okay. I am sure 90% of the people don't know about the detail. Today, I learned a lot of things, basic things. Maybe people will listen about this conversation. Definitely, they will change their mind.
Absolutely. Sure thing, Sudhakar. I'll send you the information as well, right? Awesome.
Yeah. Let's do this probably. If anyone wants more information, please, I'm watching the chat here. Please send your phone or email here, and I'll make sure you get that.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Aparna. All right. So with that, feel free to take a couple of minutes to put your information in the chat if you want to.
So tomorrow we have meeting.
So okay, all right, Gulwanji. We'll talk later. Okay. All right. You good?
Yeah. Give me one.
Awesome. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the weekend. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, team.